Aujourd'hui, on reçoit Gisela Steiger, architecte et lighting designer. Gisela est à la tête d'un studio international basé à Barcelone, qu'elle a fondé et qui réunit plus d'une quinzaine d'ingénieurs et d'architectes. Avec des bureaux à Singapour, Dubaï et Barcelone, et des projets en Italie, en Espagne et à travers le monde, elle nous raconte son parcours, sa vision de la lumière et la manière dont le lighting design devient un véritable outil de narration architecturale. Hello Gisela,
Hello,
thank you for being here.
my pleasure.
You came from Barcelona.
Correct.
So nice to have you here.
Thank
So
you
for
very
the
much.
people who do not know you, can I ask you to introduce yourself?
Absolutely. So I'm Gisela Steiger. I'm an architect specialized in lighting. I am from Barcelona and I have my own studio, which is called Auténtico. We work worldwide developing lighting projects.
Okay. You started by studying architecture,
Correct.
and then you went into lighting design. What was that click that made you see light as more than light, but as a design language?
Actually, it was totally unexpected because imagine I was studying architecture. At that time, I was working in a studio and we were developing retail projects. I always loved retail, right?
Okay.
So I started this way in the working world, let's say. And when I was finishing my degree, my boss at that time told me, "What are you going to do? Any master or?" So I was thinking what to study, and I wanted to do a master in retail actually. But at that moment, she told me like, "Why don't you do something that you don't know about that can be like a plus or something because you already know retail?"
I can relate.
Yeah. And at that moment, I was like, yeah, but what? No? She told me, why don't you look at the lighting design courses? And I was like, come on, lighting is very technical, boring. I don't feel like doing that, honestly. I'm a very creative person, you know? But anyhow, I looked at it. She convinced me finally. And then it was,
So that was your teacher at the time, or your boss?
she was my boss.
She was your boss.
She was
Okay.
my boss at that time, yes. So she convinced me. And once I was studying that, it was a master's, 1 year and a half in Barcelona in the UPC. And then I discovered that there was some people that was specialized on that, and they just did lighting, which is something not many people know, I think.
Yeah, of
So
course.
this is the story.
Okay, and was there like a specific project or something that you saw and you're okay, I can do better with lighting at that time?
Yes, actually, I started working after my master's and everything. I started working in the file for a big lighting design firm in Barcelona. And once there, I learned a lot, I have to say. And then I started thinking like, okay, I think I can do at least, if not better, different, because you need to take into account that I am an architect. Not many lighting designers are architects. So I think my point of view is a little bit different, let's say. And this is when I decided to settle my own company, let's say, and do the things how I
Yeah.
thought they
Yeah.
should be done.
And the good thing is that you can speak both language with the architects and with lighting designers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We are always in the middle, which is amazing because you have the artistic part and the technical part.
Yeah.
So you combine both.
Yeah. So you've found your light.
I found my light. Yeah, that's a very nice phrase, actually.
Pun intended.
100%. But it was totally unexpected, I have to
Yeah.
say, because honestly,
Everything in life comes unexpected. A lot of the
I
things,
believe in that.
sometimes the path you take, they come completely unexpected.
Best things, no? They
Yeah,
say.
exactly.
So yeah, that's the story. Unexpected, but amazing. What can I say? I love my job.
Love it. And is there something specific that inspires you to find your light every day? Like, what inspires you? Nature, buildings around you.
You know what really inspires me is how a space can really change radically just with lighting. You can have a space that is normal, average. You do a good lighting, it can be amazing. On the contrary, you have an amazing project in terms of design, space, and so on. You do a bad lighting, you ruin
Yeah.
it. So having that power, it's amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
To illuminate a project, basically.
Illuminate the project.
In every way.
Yes.
In every kind of.
Yes, totally.
Okay.
Totally.
And um, you went on your entrepreneurial journey.
Yeah.
It's a tough journey.
Oh.
It's an amazing journey, but it's tough
Yes.
for a lot of people, and more people want to be an entrepreneur,
Mm-hmm.
and they see the good side, but most of the time we forget about the difficulties, the obstacles. What made you go through that, and what were the obstacles at the beginning?
I have to say that I am this kind of person that when I want something, I just do it. I don't stop. I just do it. And as I told you, I was working in a studio and I could have been like continue there. But I thought I wanted to do it different. And this is what we do in the studio. Actually, if you compare us to other lighting designers, you will find that we work much different. We have the artistic part, of course, and because at the end, light is perception, you know, and it's feeling, and you have to work hard on the concepts and on the strategies. But then all the technical part, it's very important. And this is like our masters. This is how we really differentiate. So like only the willing to do things for me, of course, my criteria, but well done, and the challenge of everyday, like, because at the end when you have to the worst part or the most difficult part of how having your own business, it's not knowing if tomorrow you will have a new client or not.
Yeah.
Right, this is the tough part, but also it's a motivation, because otherwise I get bored very easily. I have to say. So most probably it's that. It's like the challenging
The
waking up
challenge,
every
yeah.
day and saying, okay, what is the challenge today?
Okay, I love it.
Yeah.
So you started your lighting studio, which is called Authentico.
Correct.
You work internationally. You cannot do it on your own, so you have a team.
I have a big team.
How many are you?
Luckily, we are nearly 10 already.
Okay.
We're growing fast. For the last, let's say, 3-4 years, we have grown very fast. Because we have opened offices in Dubai and Singapore, and that means like
Okay.
making our
Impressive.
rather
Very
bigger.
impressive.
And also like having, I mean, needing to take care of more things. That's why I count on a very amazing team. What can I say? Thanks them,
Yeah.
we can manage everything. Otherwise, it would be impossible.
And how is the workflow? Like in an architecture studio, most people know how it works.
Mhm.
But lighting studio, there are less. And so, can you describe a little bit the workflow?
Yes.
And also your workflow with architects. Like, does it come at the beginning of the project, in the early stages, or in the middle, or is it?
Imagine the workflow and how we organize is the stages and everything is exactly like architecture or interior design or landscape. I think we are all work similar, focus on our, of course, specialty, but similar. We start by a concept, we follow by a schematic, then we go to the detail design, and finally we take care of the tender, construction, and site visits, right?
Okay.
So same. When do we start? We need the architectural and design team to start a little bit before us, but just a little bit. What does it mean? They start for the concept, and once in the concept, we should go in. Why? Because lighting, for me, this is my opinion, of course, but this is also something that I think it makes a difference. I believe lighting needs to be 100% integrated in the project. So it cannot be like just an added on. It needs to be one of the most integrated layers of the project. That means that, for example, all technical lighting, you don't need to notice it's there. So imagine when you enter a space and you just feel that it's well lit, it's because you are not really seeing the lighting, correct?
Yeah.
So when they have the concept, it's when we can start proposing things that can improve and that at the end can hide the luminaires, like ceiling cuffs, like details, like, I don't know, plitines or things that we really need in order to make the light disappear. So these tools should
devil's in
be
the details. Details
exactly.
are everything, because if the details are not well made, this is the only thing that you're gonna see.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's why we need to start coordinating with
Yeah.
them at the beginning.
Beforehand, so that everything can be
Exactly.
taken care of.
But the process is the same. same
Ok,
as they follow.
ok. Ce podcast a été sponsorisé par Uniluce Déco, spécialiste de l'éclairage customisé au Maroc, et Smart Dimension, qui sont des spécialistes en domotique au Maroc. Perfect. So you work internationally.
Mhm.
You work also in Morocco. I know you
Yes,
have great
we
projects in
do.
Morocco.
We do.
Is it hard to acclimate to different cultures, different ways of working? Because I imagine all over the world it's not the same way of working.
No, at all. It's very cultural. We all work different. We all communicate different. This is one of the
Yeah.
things you need to start understanding at the beginning, I think. But at the same time, it's very exciting because first thing you need to analyze when you first, I don't know, start working on a project in a country you don't know, you need to analyze how is the people there, how they communicate, what do they mean when they say something, no? So actually an amazing book I just read, something like The Cultural Map. If you want to read it, I truly recommend it.
Okay.
And it talks about it talks about culturally how different we are, and when we say something, how we all understand it. And it's very funny to see that it's very different from culture to culture. So yes, it's not easy, but at the end we have been working here in Morocco for already 4 years, and I already know how to manage it. I got it.
What were like some of the nice things you had, nice surprises you had in Morocco, like working in Morocco, and some of the less nice?
Some of the I'm not going to criticize your people so at all. No. On the contrary.
No, but I mean, everywhere you go, there are some things that you don't expect because every country has a different culture. Even if
True.
sometimes they are close,
True.
there are some things that you need to adjust. It's completely normal.
I have to say that something that shocked me at the beginning is the timings. Here, maybe you give. I mean, you give me the reason, right? I was more used, but I mean, when starting to work, I don't know, in Egypt or in India or in countries like this, you get familiar to that. But for me at the beginning, because Morocco was first than India and other countries, so timings for me were very long here. So imagine, I talk to the client, then I send the proposal for the fees and everything. It takes him 2 months to answer me back with some observations. Then you revert back, and then finally maybe you sign the contract like 1 year after.
After the
This
first,
is happening here.
Yeah. Okay.
Now I'm used. I know how it works. Fine. I manage it. But at the beginning, it was like, okay, they are not interested. They're not. I mean, I was not. But
No,
now I know how it
you're
works.
totally right. I completely understand. What's the fastest country you've worked with? Like,
I mean, I think we can all say it's north of Europe, right?
Okay.
I'm from Spain, so
Yeah.
we are also slow.
it's
But
the Mediterranean vibes.
I think so. I think so.
Yeah.
But yeah, North Europe, it's not our main target market, but they are very fast. They're like this.
Yeah.
For the good and for the bad, like all of us. What can I say?
What are your favorite projects in Morocco that you have worked on? Maybe your favorite project
My favorite
that
project.
had like something really special.
Wow. I can only pick one. That's difficult. I have to say I love hotels.
Yeah.
Because hospitality is experience. All projects are experience in terms of lighting, but hotels a lot more, let's say. So we have developed like lot of them already. I'm not going to say one name, just the Lincoln Hotel, or we are doing these kind of projects that are special, that are not just
Why was it so special?
No, that I mean projects that have the authenticity of the place they are. This is the kind of project I really love.
Yeah,
because
a project that you cannot take and put somewhere
in another
else.
country.
It's
Exactly.
very anchored into its situation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So first thing we always do is analyze where is it located and how is the target is going to get there, and what do they want to feel, how do they want to be treated, how do they want to, and this is something amazing when the project really has the roots of the place it's located on.
Yeah, I totally agree. So, Authentico, what are like the range of services that you provide?
we take care. Let's say I always explain it like this: we take care of the lighting design of the project since the beginning up to the end.
Okay.
Meaning we start, as I told you, thinking with the architects and interior designers about how to design the spaces. And we do all the technical job, which is, as I told you, plus I can say it makes the difference from other studios, because sometimes lighting designers, they just do the concept and so on. But we are very strong at the technical development.
Until the technical sheet of the light bulb you're gonna.
Also the specification, but I'm talking more about the plans. So imagine luminaire location, driver location, wiring, control system,
Okay.
so mechanism. So everything is very well defined. So we do the engineering part of the lighting design
Okay.
as well. So we cover the artistic part, design part, and then when we turn into technical, we are very strong. That means that our documents go directly to the installer. Nobody else needs to spend time on it, and our clients can be sure that it's going to be well developed by the construction company or the installer, because our documentation is very, very detailed. And then we cover also the site visits, and so we take care until the place is going to be open and ready for the client. We take care of everything, tender phase, everything related to lighting will be on us.
Do you also design like the lighting fixtures, or do you prescribe?
Yes, we prescribe all the standard ones, but in case we have a decorative one, a chandelier or something that needs to be different, we do design it. Yes, we collaborate with many manufacturers that can do that, and then we do all the plans, shop drawings, and so on, and make sure that the development is well done.
Perfect. And what kind of size of projects usually do you work on? Like more bigger projects, or like if a client sees the interview, hopefully, and wants to be in touch with you, can a client contact you for a villa, for example, or an apartment, or do you only work on big
100%.
projects? I know you
No.
work mostly on bigger projects.
Well, most people think this. Actually, I always say all sizes. I mean, I have never said no to a project regarding the size, or So actually, I have never said no to a project in general, but especially for size. No, we do villas, small villas, and we do a huge project like complete cities in Saudi Arabia, for example, like crazy big projects. So we can handle everything. This is the good thing about that. We are trained in all typologies, and we put the same, love and time, and we take care exactly the same, even it's a small villa or it's a huge project, like as I said, a complete city.
Yeah, I'll put your contact info
Super.
in the video in case someone wants to get in touch.
Thank you.
I also wanted to, since you're a lighting specialist, how would you define good lighting?
Good lighting should be the one that makes you feel good in a space. I know this is very generic.
No, it's not.
But it's not that easy, actually.
It's simple, but it's the truth.
Correct. So for me, it's very different to. I teach, I teach a lot, and I give conferences and so on. And when they ask me this, I usually explain that in Spanish. In Spanish, we have two words. We have alumbrar and iluminar, right? For in English, it's like to lead a space, so it's the same word. But in Spanish, we have two. Which is the difference? Alumbrar, it's totally functional, just to put a light there, just to be able to see. Iluminar, it implies strategy. It implies thinking. What do you want to lead and why? So for me, a well-lit space would be the one that has been lit with strategy. Strategy meaning understanding the space, the use, the materiality, the paths, the focal points, the everything, the layers on the space. So you know that lighting design, mostly it's about layers. So taking a color, temperature, and everything that is related to the tasks that need to be developed in this space. That can be very different That's why you cannot apply the same strategy to all spaces.
Yeah.
This is mainly our job.
Yeah, and we know that lighting has a huge impact on psychology sometimes.
Yeah.
It's you don't even feel it, but there are some spaces that you feel good in and you can stay a long time inside and you don't know why. And you know that that is because of the light. Like
It's because of the
sometimes
light.
the light flickering light, you don't even see it, but your brain sees it.
Absolutely.
And so how do you make sure that for the people that do not know, that are not specialists, how can basically give them tips? How can they make sure to enhance at the maximum feeling good inside the space?
Actually, the first question would be, do you want the people that is going to be in this space to stay, or you want them to go? Because this is also a strategy. Imagine there are some
if you have a
shops.
coffee shop or something,
Exactly,
you
but
want them to...
there are some shops in which the strategy is especially buy fast and go.
Yeah.
So bad lighting can also be a strategy. But if we talk about coffee shops and places in which you really want to keep the client and to stay and to consume, let's say, it's all about, it's not all, I mean, it's about design for sure. So layers in the space, non-aggressive lighting, combining layers, smooth lighting, warm colors. We all know that more or less, or we all can think about that. But then there is the technical part.
Yeah.
So it's not only about color temperature, but index reproduction, for example, CRI, which means the grade of let's say nitidity in which you see something. We have the flickering, as you mentioned. Flickering is this kind of flashes
Yeah.
that can be seen or not. Sometimes you are in a space and you feel bad, you have headache and so on, you just want to leave. You are not seeing any flickering.
Yeah, because it flickers too fast for the eye.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Then you don't see it, but your brain
It's like
is feeling
sometimes
it.
when we want to take a video with the phone and we can see the LED lights are flickering because the phone goes in a different motion than
Exactly.
Okay.
It's this. So if you see it in your phone, I mean, be careful because your brain is feeling it a lot.
Okay.
And maybe your eyes, no. So there are many technical things that affects you, or that can affect you, and sometimes we tend, in general, to consider lighting like the budget, the reduced budget of the project, let's say, because there are many brands or that are selling very cheap, let's say.
Yeah.
But you always sacrifice something. You need to take into account that something cheap is for something, for some reasons. So be careful with kind of
well, that's like the thing we were talking about right before the interview about the podcast, about the step macadam.
Correct.
The step macadam, which is layering of the colors. With time, you can see that even if it's the same like yellow color, with time it goes. You showed me. I'll put the picture in the podcast. It's crazy to see.
It's
something you don't even notice, but your brain can feel tired because of this.
100%. Or you can even notice, imagine. So yeah, step macadam, it's like an index that reflects the variation, let's say, inside one color temperature, for example, 3000 key, okay? Most of us, we have seen the differences between two luminaires that are same color temperature, but you can see they are different, right? So this index, what it pretends is to protect this variation of visual appreciation, let's say, in between that. But this is something people doesn't know. So, for example, in a project, they give you as alternative a product that is much, much, much cheaper, but then the stem macadam is like 5 or 6. The problems we are going to have when selling that, because first of all, you're going to see it. And with the pass of time, 1 year after,
it's going to be worse and worse.
It's going to be worse and worse, exactly. So you will, if you put the example, you will see that it's going to be horrible.
Yeah, it's
shocking.
So
it's going to, you're going to need to change everything at the end. So it's not worth it. Be careful with cheap product.
Yeah. So you live in Barcelona most of the time. You were born and raised there, I think.
Yes, correct. I spend half of the month in Dubai usually, but yeah.
Okay. So Barcelona is a city of sun, of light. It's a
Mm,
Mediterranean city.
correct.
How does that works with your way of designing light?
They always say this is something they love about us, or they say so, we design in a Mediterranean way because we are used to natural light. Same here.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's very similar. So we are very used to sunlight, but specifically, I mean, this is one of the reasons why we are really sensitive when we have no sunlight. So when the sun goes down, then we switch on the lights. If the lights are not good enough, we feel a lot the difference. That's why most of the people, at least in Barcelona, they are very sad when at winter they change the time. You know, they move 1 hour forward or before, because they feel that lack of natural light, right?
Yeah.
So it's always very important to work properly than the artificial light. But I think especially for people who are lucky to have
light,
yes.
Yeah, a lot of people that come from Mediterranean countries, they go for work in countries more in the north of Europe, for example, where there is less natural light, and they don't know why, but they feel depressed.
Absolutely.
So lighting has a huge impact on our sanity and mental well-being and everything.
Light is health.
Yeah.
This is like my big hobby. It has been for many years, like studying the affectation of artificial lighting in our body. So this is one of my big interests.
You talked about Dubai. It's very interesting to see that Dubai is a country that has a lot of light. Maybe too much light. Don't know. Not.
You mean artificial?
No, like
natural.
Natural sunlight.
No, why too much? It's never too much. We are designed as animals that we are. We are designed to live outside.
Yeah.
This is the best thing we can do for our health. It's something we cannot do. Of course, we need to work. We need to, develop things. But if we could, we would be much, much healthier like this. My job is to try to work on the artificial light the healthiest way we can.
Exactly.
We can achieve, yes.
Okay. So what would be the most misconception that you have seen in your work that architects make with light?
First of all, I think most of the architects or professionals on the design field, they put way too much light in the spaces. Too much light. So most of the time we just take off light of the project. We do not need that amount of light. We just need to think, where do we need light and what kind of light we need in that specific place in which we need to develop certain tasks, right? But fulfilling the ceilings as people do with 1,000 downlights, and it's always like, I'm putting it just in case.
Just in case.
Just in case. I love that. I don't like the just in cases. Please don't do that anymore. It's not healthy, first thing, but then it's not good in terms of, it doesn't help in terms of design, because when you have too much light in a space, everything looks like homogeneous, plain. There are no focal points, no contrast, no materiality, no nothing. You just have a huge amount of light coming from the ceiling usually. So this is the biggest mistake. We are used to it. I mean, this is what people does, but that doesn't mean that it's well done, let's say.
Yes.
This is for me that.
So now that you speak about too much light, can we speak also about the fact that there are direct and indirect light, and what's the right balance? Or personally, I hate direct light. I prefer indirect light. Like, is it a bad way to go to just put a completely indirect light everywhere? Or
this is something I always try to explain to the people that come to my classes and conferences. I made up a theory which is not written anywhere, but
it's experience.
It's experience and feeling, and what I feel it's good, right? For me, there should be in all spaces 3 layers. The direct lighting, which is the one you're going to have
on the
ceiling usually, but in places you need to develop a task. For example, a table where you need to work, or in the kitchen where you need to cook, for example. So functional lighting. Second, ambiental lighting. So something that is bouncing, literally bouncing, can be ceiling off, an applique looking up, projectors bouncing the light on a picture, for example, or a floor lamp just facing up and lighting the ceiling. So anything that can be bouncing light on the space. So this is the indirect one, the ambient. And the
Second
third
layer.
one,
Third one.
and the third one, the decorative layer.
Okay.
So all elements that make
focus maybe on something.
Exactly. So it's for the user to have that feeling of comfort, of being more close to the user. So for me, all spaces should have these three layers in order to achieve the luminic comfort, let's say.
Okay.
This is my theory, yeah?
Honestly, I agree with your theory.
It has sense, no?
It definitely makes sense.
Yeah, yeah.
You mentioned, now that you mentioned that you teach, it's amazing. How did you come up at the time where like, now I have to, why, what was the reason behind? Did you come up to a time where you were like, okay, I have some knowledge, I need to share it with the younger?
At all. I think in my life, everything comes just a lot. I mean, I didn't look for it.
Opportunities come
exactly.
and you welcome them.
What was happening is that I always felt like
someone said, I'm sorry, but someone said life is what goes by while you make plans.
Absolutely, I do agree a lot. So it's very funny because I never choose anything; it just happens. But I think if you pick up the right opportunities, you end up in a good way, let's say. So what happened is I always felt like I was teaching my clients, because at the end you need to explain them the importance of what you are doing, because usually they don't really understand it, which is normal when you are, specialized on something, right? So I started, training myself, explaining my clients. Then it is true that I've been always very active, for example, in the Architects College of Catalonia, Spain, and so on. So every time they were doing something related to lighting, they called me. So, and at the end, more or less, people know that you do that and you do it more or less good. And they call you, and then I always have a yes for everybody. This is something, it's good and bad at the same time. And I like doing it. So I don't know, it just came naturally. Okay. And I like doing it, so.
Perfect. So now that you are in contact with the younger generation, do you feel that they are more aware of the importance of lighting design, or not?
A little bit, yes. And I'll tell you why. They have grown in, let's say, panorama in terms of architecture and design, in which healthy architecture is something real. We didn't. I didn't. When I studied, that was something very hippie, like very, but now it exists. And day by day, more people is thinking this is important. So they are starting to have more conscious, let's say, about that. But anyway, I have to say they are not taught properly. They're not taught at all. So lighting is not something they learn in the university yet. They have to learn it outside. That's why, we do these courses and everything. But I think they are more sensible to it. That's true.
Okay. Now we're gonna go to one of my favorite parts of the podcast, but right before, there is something that we skipped through, and I personally wanted your opinion on it. What's the difference? Like, what color light, like on the Kelvins, like on warm and cold? What's the difference? What's the impact? Like, what should we choose?
What should we choose? Actually, it depends. I have to say that it depends. If we're talking about perception, only, it depends on the material you are lighting, right? So if you know that light is color at the end. And so we apply the additive theory, let's say, of color. So if you have a material that itself, the composition is more reddish than bluish, and you apply a color temperature of light that has more red than blue, the reds of the material will be enhanced, right? This is a theory. So when you have a space that tends more to the reddish, let's say a beige color, white, beige, and so on, we should use warmer colors, neutral or warmer.
Okay.
If we're turning to the blues, like gray, like bluish, like turquoise, and so on,
Colder color.
we should go to the more cold color temperatures in order
Okay.
to enhance the
To
colors.
enhance. Okay.
Okay, we don't want to transform the colors with light. We want to enhance it. This is talking about materiality. If we talk about health, we 100% should go or to mimetize the sun, the color temperature of the sun, which is changing not only color temperature but intensity. So this is the best thing we could do. If not possible and we need to choose static, then we should choose the color temperatures that have that are more balanced in terms of spectrum, because one thing is the color temperature and another thing is the spectrum composition, right? So we need to talk about both at the same time. But anyhow, long story short, color temperatures that tend more to the blue are affecting more negatively to our health. This is long story, like summarizing a lot. So I would say it's better to use neutral to warm than neutral to cold.
Okay. Good to know. So
It
now
will be too
we are.
technical.
No, it's great. It's you make it simple. So I think I understood, and I think most of the people can
Great.
understand
Great.
what you're saying.
Super.
Now we're going with quick fire questions.
Ooh,
So
let's
I'm
go.
gonna ask you like 10 questions,
Okay.
and you have to answer like the fastest and the
First thing.
and the least amount of words possible.
I'm ready.
A space whose lighting changed your life.
Quick answer. La Sagrada Familia. You know La Sagrada
Yeah.
Familia in
Yeah.
Barcelona, right?
Yeah.
Gaudí, architect.
No architect can answer no to this question.
Okay. You would
If
not
you
have-
don't know La Sagrada Familia,
Okay. Sometimes I
and
say it
you're
and
in
people is like, no idea. And then you show the photo and they know it. Why it changed my my life, let's say, or it was important. This is one of the first buildings I worked on, luckily, when I first established on my own. And honestly, it was very difficult. So at that time, it was...
So it was like when they finished it recently, no?
It's not finished. It will
Not
never
yet?
be finished.
Not yet?
Never. No, it's never
Okay.
ending. It's up there, but no, it's not really finished.
It's a work in
But-
progress.
Yeah, forever. So they, it was, we worked there for 2 years, 2 to 3 years actually. And honestly, I felt it was very, very difficult. So whenever you find something very difficult, you learn a lot.
Yeah.
So I learned a
It-
lot there.
And it has more value.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of
We
course.
value difficult.
Now it would be amazing to go back there and do it even better, right? But at that time, I really enjoyed it, but it was, I suffered a lot.
Yeah.
But what can I say? It's an amazing building.
But
So
it's amazing that you have
Yeah.
worked on such
I was very lucky.
an icon.
I was very lucky.
Okay, a project you'd love to illuminate one day.
You're going to laugh now. I have never worked on a mosque. I really want to work on a mosque. If anybody has a mosque and needs help, I will be very happy, honestly.
I was not expecting this
I
answer
know,
at all.
but it's real. It's real. I want to do a mosque, especially the outdoor,
Okay.
because the shapes, very organic, usually very,
Yeah.
and the mist. It's religion, right? So it's
Yeah.
100%
Has a
feeling.
sacred
Feeling. So
yeah.
it's all feeling. Amazing. I just want to do that.
Amazing. I
Maybe
was not
someday.
expecting this
I know.
answer, but it's a great answer. Warm or cool light?
I just said it. 100% warm.
Yeah. Are you a morning person or a night owl?
I'm a very morning person. I wake up like at 4, 5 in the morning, and around 9 I'm sleeping.
Okay. What's your favorite project that you have worked on and your most difficult one?
I cannot say La Sagrada Familia again, so I would say recently we finished a shopping mall in Bahrain. It's not like my favorite project, but I really enjoyed working there a lot because it's a very dynamic project in terms of color changing. It's a little bit crazy, but
Yeah.
I mean, we do a lot of
Is
heritage.
it
We do a
finished?
lot. It's finished, yes.
Okay, could we
It's
make the picture? Could you put
yes,
it?
sure.
Okay.
It's called the Avenues Shopping Mall, and it's near the sea. It's like a zigzag shape and everything. It's amazing. It's an amazing place. But moreover, the funny thing was working with the color changing lighting. It was a little bit like theater lighting.
Okay.
So very big domes with dynamic lighting, mappings, and so on. So most of the time we do static lighting, architectural lighting, of course, amazing projects. But this one was very challenging also. I like, you're saying I like
Yeah,
challenges, right?
yeah.
So working there was not easy at all. But at the end, when you see the result, it's like, wow,
Yeah.
we did that. So yeah, I would say that.
Yeah.
This one.
What was the reason why it was such? Was it sometimes you work and you have great clients who have a great vision and
Mm.
leave your space
Mm.
to design, but also have a clear vision of what they want. Was
Yeah.
it the case or?
It was the case, yes. Especially not only the client that was like this, but all the technical team was aligned. And this is
Okay.
very important. And everybody respected each other, which is something
Yeah.
sometimes difficult with different disciplines. Yeah, we were, I don't know, we worked very, very good. It was long. It took us like 2 years to finish. But honestly, I still go there. I will be there in a couple of weeks. And I just want to go there and see it again and say,
Mhm.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like the result.
Okay. What's a city or a country you would love to work in that you haven't worked in before?
Any?
Yeah.
I haven't worked there before, I would say. So any country I haven't worked
Okay, so
before.
there is no
So there are many.
not a country yeah,
No,
not a specific one.
not a specific. But if you tell me, I know Australia, done. Happy to
Okay.
work there. I've never worked there yet.
Okay.
So, or I know any country that could
Okay.
be new for me, because that means I need to learn something about culture, about how they
A new
live, how they
challenge.
exactly.
Basically, any challenge is
Yeah.
is welcome.
Absolutely, yes.
Okay. Dream project.
Can I say mosque again?
Yeah, we've done it. A designer, an artist, or a filmmaker who deeply inspires your visual sense.
There is an artist, lighting artist actually. He's called Olafur Eliasson.
Oh, yeah.
You know him. Many people know him. He's very good actually. He plays with light, but he makes you whenever you are in an installation of him, you really feel things. So light makes you feel real things, and the installations are very simple. It's not about dynamic stuff or here and there or mappings or digital. No, it's not digital. It's just about playing with colors, shapes, tricky,
Yeah. Yeah, it's great.
so yeah, if you want to look for it and you don't know it, it's Olafur Eliasson.
Yeah, we'll put some
He's amazing. He's
stuff.
amazing. Yeah, it really inspires me.
Okay. A movie whose lighting was done really great. I don't know if you're a big movie fan or not.
You're going to laugh at me now. I'm not able to finish a movie.
No way.
I'm this kind of person that my brain goes at 200% revolutions, let's say. So whenever I stop, and watching a movie requires to stop,
Yeah.
obviously, to stop and just do that action, which is watching the movie, I fall asleep. I'm not able. I don't remember the names. I'm a disaster with that.
Okay.
So I cannot tell you one. I'm sorry.
I am the exact opposite.
Yeah?
Movies I love movies.
I like movies. I would love to watch one. It would be amazing.
So final question, an object that is essential to you every day. Not necessarily in design, but like something that you need. You cannot go outside without.
I think it's very typical, but it's very true, I would say.
Except your phone.
Okay. Laptop.
Except your phone. A phone is
okay. Laptop.
No, but not something not something digital or that you can work in.
I don't have any object.
Well, I
that you
think we
say.
understood that you're a little bit of a workaholic.
Yeah,
but
absolutely. So my laptop is always in my purse. You saw that my purse is
something
giant.
that is not powered with the...
Not powered.
Yeah.
Is it possible?
Yeah.
Does it have sense to have something like this?
Yeah, sunglasses, for example.
Sunglasses, yeah, but it's not mandatory. But imagine
Yeah,
going out home
some
without
people-
your laptop. I cannot imagine that.
Yeah, but accept this.
Okay.
Is there something? A pencil? A pen?
Do
No.
you use pencil still? Nobody uses
Yeah,
pencil.
I do.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't.
No.
I don't at all. At all.
Okay, so
No?
phone, laptop, iPad.
Yeah, I have a
Okay.
problem. I don't know. Nothing. Just that.
Okay, your
Just
brain.
that. My brain. Does it count?
It counts.
If it works still.
So finally, I'm gonna ask you 2 questions, and then we can wrap it up.
Okay.
What's the best advice you have received in your life?
The best advice.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a little bit weird.
No judging.
No judging, okay. It's strange, but think about it. The advice is the following. If you pee upwards, let me finish, you're not going to get your feet wet. You understand it?
Yeah.
Like, meaning, if you point up, like in terms of aspirational, if you're not going to get there, at least you're going to get here, you know? But
Yeah.
if you're pointing down,
Shoot for the moon.
yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I
Is
truly
it
believe.
a saying in Spanish?
Yes.
Okay, can you say it in Spanish?
Well, it's not that it's more in Catalan, actually. Maybe
Okay.
most people don't know it, but in my family it's common, actually, to say that. So in Catalan it's something like si pixes amunt, no et mullaràs els peus. This is what we say. Like,
Looks beautiful.
high expectations, high aspirational.
Yeah.
Just, go up.
Okay. Amazing. And final question, how would you like to be remembered?
I was going to say, I don't really want to be remembered. As long as I am happy and my people is happy, for me it's enough. But if you want an answer to that, I can say...
No, it could be an answer.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Take it.
So-
Or, yeah, take it. I don't
Yeah.
really want to. I don't need that.
Okay.
As long as I am happy, which I am, and my people is happy,
which
which
is-
I try them to be, good enough.
Which is to me one of the most important thing.
True.
Yeah. Love
Sure.
that. Love that answer. Okay, so to conclude, where can people who want to get in touch with you see your work or get in touch with you?
Sure.
Via email or your website or?
Yeah, our website is autentico.design. There you will find my contact, or
I'll put
via
it on the
LinkedIn,
screen.
or it's easy. Internet knows everything, or ChatGPT.
Okay, perfect. Well, thank you for being here.
My pleasure.
Thank you
very
for
much.
sharing your vision. And see you guys on the next episode.
Thank you very much.
Merci d'avoir écouté cet épisode de Livin Room. Si cette conversation vous a inspiré, pensez à vous abonner et à partager autour de vous. Vous pouvez retrouver Alami Livin sur tous les réseaux sociaux et n'oubliez pas de nous laisser un petit like afin que l'on puisse ramener des invités toujours plus extraordinaires les uns que les autres.